welcome to, which number is this? I think the 4th episode.
4th.
Oh, thank you. I said to David earlier just now, like, I feel like I'm in another world today and I'm blaming him. It's all David's fault. It's all this Kabbalah and the fact that I'm actually on the High Priestess today. I really feel like I'm in another world. So yes, number 4. Well, you know this because it's your birth card number, right, David? Number 4.
That is right. Did you plan this? Was this planned to have me on 4th? Having me on the 4th, having the Emperor as the.
I don't plan anything in my life. It's amazing how it all
just happens.
Like the first time I ran a past life regression workshop happened to be on Easter Sunday, and people were saying to me, Tiffany, did you do this on purpose? And I was like, why? And they were like, it's Easter Sunday. See, I was that oblivious and in my bubble. I don't know these things. It just happened. Anyway, pull myself back to this world and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me and David today. I'm really looking forward to this presentation because David is going to show us his map on connecting with the mystical system of the Kabbalah. Now, wow, I don't know how many of you here have actually done any work with the Kabbalah. It'd be really nice to hear, actually.
Yeah. And if everyone can just write who has worked with Kabbalah or has any knowledge on the Kabbalah, it'd be interesting to know. So just write it in the chat.
Yeah, please do. It would be fantastic. We've also got Juliet helping. You can't see her, but she's really looking after you. Bless her. She's my faithful tech assistant from my program, The Transformational Truth of Tarot. She's the woman behind every great woman, shall we say, in that sense. And so she is helping with the moderation, which means that she's going to make sure that all your questions and things that we need to see and David needs to see will be answered, because after David has taken us through his amazing map of the Kabbalah and how that unlocks all the wisdom in the tarot and therefore all the wisdom in you, he will be going through your questions live. And for those of you that actually stay all the way through, and why wouldn't you want to, you will have David's amazing bonus offer, which is incredible. It's the slides of this presentation made into an ebook, plus, and is a man of many talents is our David, an album called The Honey Lion, which has a story behind it and is great for meditation and opening your heart, this lion's gate that we are currently in. So I will let David talk in a minute. Promise, David. I promise I will. But just to let you know how I came across David first, I had just launched the Transformational Truth of Tarot Game Changer on Kickstarter, and I put into Twitter #tarot, #conference, and boom, there was David with his first ever Light and Love Tarot Reading Festival yes, in Montreal. And when I read his message, it was like I had those downloads. You know what I mean, guys. You know, when you connect with something and it just feels so right, and you all of that energy and tingles going through you. That's what I had. And I thought, oh, I've got to make contact with this guy because he's got exactly the same ethos or message, which is about tarot for personal development, spiritual development, enlightenment, transformation, rather than fortune telling, divination. And it was so amazing just to see or find someone that actually really connected with that, and that he was putting on this conference in Montreal. So we connected, and the rest was history. And that's how we've also brought this Light and Love Transformational Tarot Conference to you as well. So he is my partner on this, and he's a great, lovely, supportive man to work with. And I think you're just going to be lovely. You're going to enjoy connecting with him. You are welcome. You can pay me later. Okay, right. So, David, let's start with, because I did well. I didn't tell your story. I held myself back. So let's start with how the tarot actually came to you and what it's about for you.
Yes, I'm still fascinated today how I came across the tarot. I only started working with tarot in 2014, and it's just magical synchronicity how everything came about. But I think I'd like to start a bit from the beginning to really, so everyone can really understand how magical the synchronicity came about.
Fantastic, I love that.
So I want to talk a bit about, we'll start with the dark night of the soul. So I'm not sure how many of you know of this dark night of the soul, but it's really a moment when we are stripped of all light, all divine understanding, and we are left alone in darkness. Usually we are left in this darkness so we can face our fears, face our demons, and learn how to overcome them. And once we achieve this process, we are then enlightened. We are then, the divine gives us a gift. We're given. So, and it helps us grow in our spiritual evolution. Everyone, we will all have this experience in our life. Okay. It'll happen at different stages for everyone. Some can actually experience it several times throughout their life. And for everyone, each experience will last a different amount of time. It might last, let's say, a day for some, a week, a month, 2 years, depending how much we need to be cleansed. It's a very powerful cleansing process that the divine puts us through, so we can then receive his gift. I think I was 7 or 8 years old when I first experienced the dark night of the soul. I remember it lasted a week, and for this entire week, I could no longer close my eyes. Even I couldn't sleep at night. Whenever I would close my eyes, I would see myself in complete darkness, and I would see myself, once my life has ended, alone in space in darkness, and all I would keep hearing is forever and ever and ever, alone in darkness. That would terrify me. It traumatized me. And I would fall asleep and would just wake up crying, terrified. And it would last night after night, throughout the whole night. During the day, it would really bring, fears into me. So I resisted. I kept through this whole entire week. And after this week has ended, I remember, I think it was on a Sunday, I woke up the next morning and there's an angel by my side. And she's sitting right next to me holding this sphere of light. And as I look at her, she takes the sphere and just places it over my head and downloads it into my mind. And she gave me a sort of just a slight divine knowledge and wisdom to start helping me understand and cope with everything that had happened. Why had I been cleansed at such a young age of understanding the afterlife, the evolution of the soul? And that lasted every single day. I would be visited with, and I would receive more and more tiny bits of this divine knowledge and wisdom. And as I grew older and I started growing, the visits would always occur, but they would start getting more and more random. So they wouldn't happen every day. They would happen, let's say, after a week, a couple of weeks, a month. So, but they always occur, and they still occur till this day. So
what age was that? Can I ask? When you say it started getting more random, what age would you say that was?
Gosh, I think right after maybe a couple of months of getting these daily visitations, then it started, just slowing down and just allowing me to cope and trying to understand and put my mind together. And as all this is happening now, I started receiving a lot of visions, things that were to come, and I didn't know what to make of all this. I was like exposed. It's as if my spiritual vision, my third eye was open, and now I try to balance myself with what's real and what's spiritual, and I was left to cope with that. And I would every morning when that presence would occur, she would come to me, give me more, guidance or wisdom or understanding. So that kept going, and it started becoming more and more random. Until the age of 16. So we'll fast forward now. Once I'm 16, I had my first guided meditation session. So I had no idea what meditation was. And I remember I lied in bed, and that moment right before you open your eyes, she just said, don't open your eyes. Just lie back, close your eyes, listen to my voice, and take a deep breath. And she started guiding me in this meditation. It was incredible. It was beautiful. Until the moment where I started feeling all the molecules in the air around me. And it was forming as if it became, the whole atmosphere around me became all these light bubbles. And I started feeling my whole body elevated. Everything became so light. And I remember just hitting a moment of panic. and I just opened my eyes and just felt myself falling back onto the bed.
Right.
And then that completely left me, I would say, for a good week and a half, completely disoriented, unbalanced, and I wasn't grounded. Now I understand what had happened. But waking up in a quick state of panic and meditation can be dangerous. So it left me very unbalanced and disoriented, ungrounded. But a couple of weeks later, when I regained my being grounded, I started practicing meditation. And I would still get these visitations, these wisdoms and understanding. But then everything took a turn for a darker path. So I would say I was 17 years old. That's where there was a huge shift. So like the crossroads in my life, where the angel had left me, and as if I welcomed the opposite of the angel, a very dark presence. And I struggled with this darkness for a good 14 to 15 years.
Wow.
And so much has happened throughout this chapter of my life, but it has made me who I am today. But we'll fast forward through that until the age of 30. Once I turned 30, that's when I made the choice where it's time. I need the light back into my life. So I made a lot of different choices in my life. I turned my life around, and I bought a Bible and I started studying the Bible. I spent a couple of years studying the Bible to really, I was so lost. I was desperate for just some help and guidance. My angel had left me, and I just needed to gain some confidence and strength to just overcome this darkness that I was in. And after a couple of years, that's when I was able to regain my confidence, my courage to face my fears, to face the darkness and overcome it. Once I had achieved that point, that's when the angel returned to me again with these visitations, and everything continued from where I had left off when I was 17. And that's when I really made a choice. My life as of now should be completely dedicated to spirituality. So that's when I started studying a lot, reading a lot of books, but also mainly practicing deeply meditation, really practicing meditation, bringing it to a new level. With the help of my guides and the archangels, I was able to achieve and reach very high states of consciousness, especially with the use of crystals and all. So much has happened from reaching enlightenment to just traveling and out-of-body experiences, gaining so much wisdom, experiencing extremely high level of consciousness. But then in 2014, again, I started growing so much frustration inside because I reached a point in my life where I needed a lot of answers. The answers weren't coming, and my meditations work, I just couldn't connect anymore. And I couldn't connect with my angels. My guides weren't coming to me. So there was a big block, because at that point you can meditate every single day, but to really connect and be able to rise yourself to this high level of consciousness, you can't force it. It happens when the divine feels you're ready, when your guides feel you're ready, they'll just pick you up and they'll bring you up there. It's an incredible feeling, undescribable. But I've gone to a couple of months, I think it was even a year, where I had no more of these high connection, and it created so much frustration in me. And I remember just meditating every day, but instead of being relaxed and peaceful and light, I would have meditating with frustration, and it won't go anywhere. But they heard me, and they felt, that I needed help, I needed guidance, and they weren't coming to me. And it's fascinating because this is how beautiful synchronicity is at that time I was purchasing crystal from an online website. And this website, it's metaphysicalrealm1.com. They would have these monthly contests. And in 2014, I got an email that I was selected as a winner. I'm like, okay, interesting, cool. A couple weeks later, I get a tarot deck in the mail, and it was the Guardian Angel Tarot. Perfect. It's from my guardian angels. They sent me a tarot deck, but I had
a deck, out of all the hundreds.
Wow, and it's a beautiful deck, but I had zero interest in tarot, and I didn't connect the dots that my guides have sent me this. Right? I stored it away, and also tarot. I don't know anything about it except that it's fortune telling, divination. It's dark. Stay away from it. Everyone around me is like, oh my God. I literally took the package. I took the package and I buried it away. And I kept going. I kept going with my frustration of, please answer me. And I completely ignored what they sent me. And then 2 weeks later, I just get kicked, and I woke up in the morning, because most of my communication would always happen early in the morning. Like I always say, that first split second before you open your eyes. And they just kicked me in the head. It's like, we just sent you a telephone, pick it up and call us. So I'm like, the tarot deck? Like, that's exactly what it was for. So I took the tarot deck and I started looking the pictures up, and I fell in love with the images. And I started reading on tarot, and then that just opened me up to a whole new experience of connecting with the divine, a whole new way of reaching these higher states of consciousness. And I now had a way of communicating with them at will whenever I needed. And that just turned my life around. Yeah. So I started studying for a couple of years, reading, understanding, collecting. I probably bought 200 decks of tarot, did my nice shop. I love it, looking at all the images, the artwork. But when I started now talking to people about it, that's when, whoa. And that was in 2017 now. So 2017, I'm like, let me, tell people what I do. And I started receiving this inner gut feeling saying that I need to go out there and start talking about it, because until 2017, I was in the spiritual closet. Everything that had happened, I might have spoken to my father, I spoken to my wife, but that was it. I was in a major closet, and I was suppressing everything that would happen. And I remember sometimes I would have these emotional breakdowns because I was desperately holding on all these energies within, and you cannot hold them down. You cannot bury them. If you don't release them and share them, you're going to blow up. You burn out. So 2017 is when I got my calling. Okay, I got to start talking about it. So my first sense was I start blogging about it. Then I start talking to people about it. And that was such a negative, reception of this, the tarot topic. People are aware of yoga, meditation, crystals. They were getting into crystals, but tarot, you don't go there.
Yeah.
So then in 2017, the next step, I have no experience in event planning or anything. I had the same way that I had no intention of getting into tarot, I had zero intention of getting into event planning. But I woke up in the morning and everything was in my mind. It was given to me, the plan. I need to do this. I'm doing an event to break the misconceptions of tarot and really show how the personal use of tarot can benefit everyone. And everyone, I now I'm telling everyone, tarot is your personal psychiatrist in your pocket. Everyone should live with this, with this tool and use it on a daily basis. It's extremely powerful. So I planned the first event for 2018. It was very well received. Now I'm planning the second event this year. And it's very well received for people that right now are aware of what tarot is. I'm still getting a lot of resistance. My main goal, I really want to expose tarot to those who have never used it. Those who have, all they know is fortune telling and divination. So that's who I'm trying still really hard and desperately to reach out to. And I would love if all of you can really help me share this message. It's really to benefit everyone. The human consciousness, our humanity, how powerful of a tool this can be. So this is where we are.
Difficult, isn't it? I think, it's we're on that second rise. I think, like you're saying, yoga now, everybody knows about it. But there was a time, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was a time that yoga was seen as the devil's work. Did you know that? You did know that?
Yes, of course, okay. Of course.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just in my own bubble. I don't know if I'm in a completely different world to everyone. So yeah, like the reason I knew it is because I had friends who were yoga teachers, and they'd go and try and rent a church hall, and they'd be like, no, anything that, basically vacates you in terms of meditation even, is a vacuum for the devil to enter. That's so it's therefore devil's work. But now, like most people, if you say, did you know yoga was known as, devil worship? They're like, what? And it doesn't comprehend. And now with tarot being 200% up in interest, yes, okay, we're still kind of preaching to the converted. And also there is a lot of tarot readers out there that still see the primary use as divination or fortune telling. And so it almost feels in a way that maybe it is about kind of working on that. And then as people get more like, it just gently spreads out. But I think we all have to come to a place of self-acceptance and be okay in that place of self-acceptance. And then the world starts to accept us back. And I think that's the journey with it, really. But I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing what you're doing, because I've been out of the spiritual closet. I tried to get back in for a couple of years, and I realized the whole world wasn't like me, which was very painful. But even with that, the thought of like putting on a conference to do this stayed a dream for me. Yet here you are, kind of like tarot, and you got through all of that, had to go through all of that stuff yourself, and now you've gone into that place of, right, well, I've got this message to do it, and I'm doing it. And it's like amazing to see that, because it's so easy when the world bats you. Bats you. It's so easy to go back in the closet, and you didn't do that. Your reaction was, actually,
I'll make it bigger. I'll raise my voice and get more people to join in, and then you can't, turn away.
Exactly. And that's it. That's what it's all about. And so it's incredibly inspirational what you're doing. And I think we've got lots of people saying hello, which is really nice. And please do put your questions in. I can see Juliet is marking some questions, and we will get to these questions at the end of the presentation, which I think David is going to be doing now. But just to clarify that you guys know that the event that he's talking about is the Light and Love Tarot Reading Festival, yes, that we have been promoting during this Tarot Summit, and that it's going on in Montreal in September. And everyone you've seen so far is a speaker there, and that means that I am also speaking there, and my retreat is going to be there as well. So if you are coming from the UK, there is like not just the conference, but there's the retreat, and also I think David's doing a bit of a spiritual festival for 11 days. So the conference marks the Tarot Reading Festival, should I say, marks the beginning of that, and then the whole week in Montreal there's events, and then my retreat marks the end of it. So if you are feeling the call, if you are feeling inspired, as I'm sure you can't possibly not really, then it would be great for you to join us. As David said, it is the time to get the message out there, because I've been working with tarot a long time, and I've seen it save families and activate purposes when you know how to work with it the right way. It's one of the most healing tools on the planet. It's a gift from David's guardian angel and all our guides and guardian angels. It is the divinity, made tangible, psychiatrist in your pocket. So, David, over to you. Are you ready to do your presentation?
Of course, extremely excited.
I'm really excited too.
I've been working with this concept for several years, but I've never shared it with anyone. So I'm extremely excited to know what, are people going to think I'm crazy, or are they really going to say like, wow, I can really use this way of working with tarot and the Kabbalah? So I'm excited.
So it's your own system. You've made this. Wow.
I won't say I've made it. I've been guided. So this is something that's been, everything I've been doing so far, it's what I've been given by my angels, by my guides. So I get on a certain track, and then they guide me. Just as a little scenario, I've been working on my book now for 2 years. Last year, so it's been a year I'm working on my book. I written, I don't know how many pages, but I was in France, family vacation in France. My family, my wife, my kids, my mother-in-law. I wake up one morning, and my angels show up in France, and they're like, Dave, so, this book that you're working on, and at that time I've been, studying a lot of Papist, and I love the concept of what Papist brought. And they told me this is Papist work. You're just so sidetracked of what you're supposed to be doing. And that's when they showed me the map of the Kabbalah, and they said, you need to scrap everything you've worked so far and focus on this. And then they showed me so much about the workings of the Kabbalah and what I should start focusing on, and the real purpose of what I'm going to bring through my book to teach, which I don't want to talk too much about it now. It's really bring the Kabbalah to, let's say, a level where we can all use it on our day-to-day life. I would say it's the phase 2 of what I'm going to show today. So today it's just a basic understanding of how we can use Tarot and the Kabbalah. And then my book, what I'm working on now, is really bringing it further. So again, like I'm saying, it's not things I'm coming up with. I'm a channeler. So the divine is through me, asking me to do these for them. As we know, the archangels, the angels, they cannot intervene directly on the physical realm. They need light workers through them to channel their messages, to channel their work. So this is how I'm working through. So I accepted this work that I'm doing. And so I'm sort of channeling. They're guiding me. If I'm going off course, very bluntly, they'll put me back.
I'm sure they will, yes.
They'll throw everything I've been working on. And so it's happened a few times. It's very interesting. And I love the journey. So so it's not something I'm inventing. I'm acting as a channeler. So this is what I'm going to be showing now, presentation. Mm-hmm. And are we ready?
We are ready.
All right. Let me see how I can share this presentation.
David's got some slides for us today because the Kabbalah is very visual. Oh, there we go.
Everyone see it?
Yeah, I think we can see it. Thank you.
Perfect. So that's what I titled my presentation, using the Kabbalah as a map to further our understanding of the major arcana and court cards through the relationships with the minor arcana cards. We can use this process to help us just get a deeper understanding of the cards and how they relate with the minor arcana cards using the Kabbalah as a map. So that's going to show us how everything links together with this system.
Okay. Can I just, I'm sure most people on the webinar do know, but could you just give us a run through of what you mean by major arcana and minor arcana?
Okay. So so the major arcana are the Fool to the World. The 22 cards are what I consider the major arcana. Mm-hmm. The court cards, Page, Knight, Queen, King, and all the 4 suits. And the minor arcana, refer to them as just the 1 to 10 in the 4 suits: Wands, Cups, Swords, and the Pentacles.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Very well. And just to give, we'll pass to the second slide now. So just to give a quick understanding of the Kabbalah. So what is the Kabbalah? I'll keep it very simple. It's universal wisdom. Kabbalah is I would say the blueprint of our universe of universal wisdom. It's a spiritual tool we can use to gain wisdom and understanding. We can reach higher states of consciousness or also lower states of consciousness, depending on what level we're at. And of course, also reaching enlightenment. Mm. So this, a quick explanation of what the Kabbalah is. Now, if we look at the map of the Kabbalah, let me see. You know what? I can draw over here. Hold on. Turn on whiteboard. Very well.
Ooh, look at you.
Hold on. Let me see if I could figure how this works. So we have the 10 Sephiroth. As we can see here, we have the first, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th Sephiroth. So what are the Sephiroth? So these 10 Sephiroth are the 10 creative forces that intervene between the divine and our physical realm. Okay, don't mistake that Kether, which is the first Sephira at the top.
That seems to be missing from our view.
I know. The whiteboard seems to remove it. It cuts it. So if we look at Kether, do not mistake Kether as the divine. All right.
Right.
Each Sephira expresses attribute of the divine. They are not the divine. Okay. The divine remains high above the tree of life, the Kabbalah. So those. So now we know. A quick understanding of what the Sephiroth are. The next step now is looking at the block lines, the connecting lines. These are called the 22 paths. Mm-hmm. Now, they allow us to navigate the Kabbalah, but successfully navigating on a path, it actually requires a harmonious blending of the 2 forces represented by the 2 joined Sephiroth. So, for example, if we want to travel the Kabbalah on this path, we have to be in harmony with the 3rd Sephira and the 5th Sephira, enabled to truly experience this path. Now, if we look at the minor arcana cards, so the cards 1 to 10 and all the suits, if we look at all the Sephiroth from 1 to 10, they link up directly with the minor arcana. So the first Keter is actually all the aces from all the suits. So this is where they are mapped on the Kabbalah. Okay. The second Sephira, Shokma, this is all the twos from all the suits, wands, cups, swords, and pentacles.
Right.
Then again, the third is for all the threes, the fourth, the fifth, and so forth until reach the 10.
Okay. Yeah,
so all the 10s, and again, the 10 is what is the closest to our physical realm. So these represent all the 10s of the minor arcana.
Okay.
And same thing for the court cards now. The court cards, but they don't link up to all the Sephiroth. The second Sephira links up with all the kings of all the suits. Okay. The third with the queens.
Got you. Where you've said it in purple. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The sixth is with the knights, right in the middle of the tree.
Uh-huh.
And all the way at the bottom, the tens is where we put the pages.
Right.
And this, again, the page is very new, fresh energy on a physical realm. This is why it's very connected at the bottom with the physical realm. So this is how we attribute the minor arcana and the court cards on the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life. So we map them out this way. Now we want to bring it a step further, and let's see how the major arcana now maps out on the Kabbalah.
Great.
Are you ready?
I'm ready for this. Let's get ready.
Do not get too confused. So each path, there's 22 paths. Each path is literally a major arcana card. So let me see if I could just show. So if we look at, okay, I'll turn off the whiteboard. But if we look at from the first Sephira, from Kether, let's say we go to Bina on the third Sephira, we have the magician. Left. This is where the magician is mapped.
Okay. Yeah, the purple triangle left side at the top. Number one.
So you see there's a number one, which relates with the magician. Number two actually is mapped on the vertical line between the first and the sixth Sephira.
Yeah.
So this is number 2. That's right. So it connects the top Sephira with the mid Sephira, the sixth.
Okay.
So now this allows us now to map out all the major arcana on the Kabbalah. We have the minor arcana and we have the court cards. So now we could start to see, once you see this, you're like, but there are certain relationships going on here that we need to dive in deeper just to gain a bit more understanding. For example, if we're looking at the Fool, he's connected with the aces and the twos.
Yes.
So we see a direct connection here with the Fool major arcana.
Yeah. Got it.
Perfect. All right. Next. We'll go a bit deeper. Again, the Kabbalah is a very complex working. I'll give a quick, levels of understanding, and then we'll keep it simple for how to work with the tarot.
Right.
So the next level now we see there are 4 worlds with the Kabbalah. There's the world of Atziluth, which is access through contemplation. And it's the world of origins, element of fire. Fire ties in with wands, the wand suit. And only Kether belongs to the first world, okay? Then we proceed with Bina and Chakma that belong to the second world, the world of Beria, which is the element of water, cups. And then we proceed with the third world, which have 6 Sephiroth that belong to this one. And the fourth world, the last one, which is the 10th, Malkuth, that belongs to the Pentacles. So this gives us a quick map of the 4 worlds, but a level of complexity. Each Sephira also belongs on all the 4 individual worlds. So it gets pretty complex. Exactly.
Right.
I'll keep it simple. We're going to keep it simple. Okay. So the four worlds are associated with an element and with a tarot suit, but each Sephira is also present across all the 4 tarot suits. And each major arcana card is either dominant in 1 or 2 worlds, but also present in all the 4 worlds. And the worlds in which the path joint Sephiroth are located. So for example, we'll look at the Emperor. the emperor has belongs in the second world and the third world, because both of his Sephiroth are in two separate worlds. So he is dominant in these two worlds. Doesn't mean that he's not active, he's not present in the first world and in the fourth world.
Oh, I think I can see, yes. So you mean because it goes from Chokma, if I'm saying it right?
Yes, to Tifareth. Again, there's many different ways of pronouncing the Sephara. If you're doing deep meditation and contemplation on the Kabbalah, on each Sephiroth, then for sure you have to pronounce it the right way. You know, the specific ways of pronouncing. For the use of tarot, we'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
So that's it. So the emperor is connected to the second and the sixth Sephiroth. And we can see the second belongs to the second world. The sixth belongs to the third world. So we know the emperor is dominant in these two worlds. We'll see what that means in the next slide. I'll just present one final layer in this Kabbalah, which is the pillars. Okay, there are 3 pillars in the Kabbalah. We have the left pillar, the middle pillar, and the right pillar. And I see these pillars as they're associated with the divine feminine, neutral, and masculine energies. So the left pillar, the left side of the tree, is like the left side of our body. Our left palm is feminine, is receptive, is passive. It's the moon energy. So when I work with crystals, when I want to receive the crystal's energy, I always work with my left hand. Whereas in the right side of the tree, which is sort of the right side of our body, our right palm, is masculine, projective. It's the sun's energy. So that's how we can differentiate both. And the middle, of course, is the neutral energy of the Kabbalah, the tree. So this gives us a quick runaround of, you know, a simple version, a light version of what the Kabbalah is. Now, how can we go deeper now with the tarot? How can we apply tarot really in an easy way in a reading or so forth? So as an example, which major arcana did I use for this presentation? Of course, I love working with the Emperor. So the Emperor,
your best card,
my soul energy, my life purpose energy. Love working with number 4. It's the 4th session today in our summit. So the Emperor. Okay. So again, my personal interpretation in general of the Emperor is all about righteousness and almsgiving. So that's my personal interpretation. And if we look at now, we're going to look at the Emperor from the first perspective of the first world. So as we saw before, the Emperor is dominant in the second and the third world, but he also belongs in the first world. So when we look at the origin through divine light, all right, contemplating on this path will help us understand the origins of the Emperor. So how do I come about with this spread? All right. So to look at this spread, we look at the path on the Kabbalah. So the Emperor connects the second Sephara, which has the kings, it has the 2, and then it connects to the 6th Sephara. So it's the 6 of the suit and the knights.
Gotcha.
In the first world, it's related with the element of fire, which is the suit of wands. So I come about with the spread, the king of wands, the 2 of wands, the Emperor, the 6 of wands, and the knight of wand.
Because they fit the Sephiroths.
Exactly. And the way we lay down the cards, you must lay the cards from left to right as if we are descending the tree. Okay. So depending where you are on the tree, you start from the highest Sephara, and this is what's going to be on the left. So you start with the king, the 2, and then as you go down, you end with the 6 and the knight.
Right.
So now, if we contemplate with this spread, this is where we gain an understanding of the origins of the Emperor. Who is he? Where is he coming from? What is behind him? What makes up the Emperor?
Amazing.
If we proceed now to the second level, now to the second world. So this is now the world of creation, right? It's the element of water, cups. So contemplating on this path helps us understand the Emperor's process of creation. So this is how he creates in his being. And again, the Emperor is dominant in this world. Therefore, he's very active with this suit. So the suit of cups. So definitely meditating or contemplating with this path will have more powerful benefits, and we'll gain the truth understanding of how the Emperor creates. Creates always happens before the actual formation. So we sort of receive the divine spark in the first Sephirah, in Kether. The second level is the level of creation, how in our mind everything come together, it's created before we're able to start putting the pieces together, manifesting it, forming it, before it actually is manifested and it appears in our physical realm on the fourth world. So this is the whole, so the Emperor is very dominant, he's very active in this creative process when he intervenes in his processes. So for sure, when the Emperor comes out in a reading, we have to be conscious of this power that he has, this creative power. But not only the creative power, it's also the forming it, really bringing it in a shape ready for it to be manifested. So basically, he'll prepare it, and then he has how can I say, let's say like the worker will come and bring it upon the physical world and do his work and spread the word and do all of that, sort of the day-to-day task. But again, if we look at the third world, the process of formation through divine wisdom. So creation, so if we just go back 2 slides, so the origins are always in divine light. Creation is always in divine love. It's not changing slide. Hold on a second.
So we've got the creation through thought, and then the creation through love.
Hold on. The origin is in light. Creation is in love.
Got
the formation.
Okay.
What slide are you on now? It doesn't seem to be switching slides.
The Emperor with the process of creation through divine love.
Okay, it seems to have jammed. Let me stop it and I'll restart it.
Yeah, no problem. We've got lots of people saying that they're 4s, and somebody's asking about how to figure out the birth card. So just add up your birthday, month, and year, okay, and deduce that if it's above a 10.
Okay, so now I stopped the presentation. Let's start it again. Start. Okay, so we'll keep progressing. So the creation, that was it.
Yep.
We'll move through formation through divine wisdom. So again, in the third world, swords, having the wisdom, we're able to put it all together. And then finally, the fourth world, again, where the Emperor is not very active in the fourth world, pentacles, the physical realm, self-expression. But we do get how he self-expresses through this spread. So the purpose of understanding this path, these spreads and these 4 suits or these 4 worlds, is really to gain the true understanding of who is this Emperor on all the 4 levels, all the 4 aspects of being. And this is a very personal, how can I say, experience. We can read the books, we can write the books, but you really need to do your own personal work to really be enlightened with this energy, with this power, with this knowledge and wisdom. Reading all the books that you may read will give you the knowledge, but like I did with Pappas, it might not be right for you in this time in your state of consciousness. So you have to do the work. We have to practice spirituality in order to be enlightened. So these spreads, again, I did a quick layout of just the Emperor. But I'm hoping that it's clear for everyone. Is it clear for you, Tiffany, how to go about on mapping out a major arcana on the path?
So yeah, when you say mapping out, you mean by looking at the Sephiroth and seeing where the major or minor arcana fits? Is that
exactly? And then creating your spread, just simply creating your spread, what card to use.
What card to use is to do with what's in the Sephiroths.
Exactly. I'll give you a quick example.
Please do. Yes.
Since you are the High Priestess.
I'm on the High Priestess today. Not my birth card number.
So if you want to look at the High Priestess, so she will be. Okay, I'll put. Okay, so she's on the first. I'll go back.
So she's a number 2, peeps, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. So she's connected. She connects on the Sephira. So in the first world, so she's very active with wands, and she's connected in the third world, where she's very active with swords.
Can you draw that for us? Because I'm a little lost right now. I've turned the whiteboard on.
All right. So you see here the first step, because it cuts a bit on the.
It cuts
we have the first Sephira here. We have the High Priestess going down here, and we have the sixth Sephira here. Okay. So if you want to do your spread, if you're doing your spread on the High Priestess, she's dominant in wands. So I would start with the Ace of Wands, the High Priestess, and then I'll proceed with the Six of Wands and the Knight of Wands.
Yes.
And then she's also very dominant in the third, as we can see here, the third Sephira, so it's swords. So then I will proceed to meditate or contemplate on the Ace of Swords, the High Priestess, the Six of Swords, and the Knight of Swords.
Gotcha.
All right. And then you can repeat that for any other major arcana card. If ever you have questions, I'm here at the end to answer them. If you want me to just clarify more in detail.
You want to do some now or at the end of the presentation?
We'll do it at the end. I have one more slide. We'll do the last slide. And then another way of working with the Kabbalah, and then we'll answer questions.
Okay.
Our famous court cards. So sometimes I have the most difficulty working with a court card because it can mean, or personality. There's so many aspects, different aspects of the court card that, it can mean in a reading. So what I have put in place here now is when I map out a court card, there are so many endless possibilities. So as an example, we'll look at the Knight, and I picked the Knight of Swords. So the Knight is a court card that has the most connection. As we can see here, it has 8 connections with 8 major arcana card, and it's connected with 9 Sephiroth. How do I work? All right. So how does that work? So now the Knight of Swords as an example for this reading. So the Six of Swords, as we can see, that belongs in the same Sephira as the Knight of Swords.
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah.
That's right. It actually identifies the initial cause of the Knight's reactive force. Okay. So that is the root of his being. So we can sense right away, if you just look at those 2 cards, the Six of Swords, the Knight of Swords, you can sense the reckless frustration of the Knight caused by the Six of Swords. You can clearly see that there are opposing energies. There's an opposing energies between both cards. They're heading for disaster. One is taking the smooth way, to cross, and the Knight is just reckless. He's refusing, and he's just going head on first. So that really builds up frustration within the Knights of Swords. So what do? So we must ask ourselves, what's the Knight's state of consciousness, right? In order to identify the path that we're going to use for this reading. So his state of consciousness is identified by the major arcana card, the path. So when we're doing a reading, the Knight of Swords comes up. Depending on the reading, the setting, we need to think. First, we should bring in the Six of Swords into the reading, and then select the major arcana card that identifies with the state of consciousness. So for an example, once we have identified what the major arcana card is, it's going to lead us to what now the outcome of that is going to be if the Knight doesn't take any action. And working with the associated major arcana card then will help us realign the outcome. Again, the outcomes are never definite. When it's a short-term outcome, it's harder to play with. But for sure, outcomes in the mid-long term, we always have the power over our will to control our destiny. So we should always never take that for granted and take initiative, take action to work with our outcomes. Okay, so as an example, we have the Knight of Swords that came up, and the Six of Swords creating the frustration of he's refusing. If I would say the state of consciousness for the Knight of Swords in this reading was the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is all about relationships, opportunities, pleasures. And of course, for me, the most important one is the choice, going on the right path, the light path, or the wrong path, the dark path. So the Knight, being frustrated, refusing to be forced and taking the light path, chooses the dark path. So we'll go down. Let me put the whiteboard on. So we start with the Knight. Oh, it's not drawing. We start Why
Do you
can't
want
I
me to
draw?
draw it? Oh, sorry. That
Okay.
was Can you draw now?
Let me try. Yes. So we start with the Six of Swords, the Knight of Swords,
Yeah.
and we're working for. I identify that the state of consciousness of the knight, he's in a lover's mode.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the lover's mode. He's refusing. He's frustrated. So he's going against what he should be doing. And in this case, it's a lover's making the right choice. For sure, his outcome we have here is the Three of Swords. It's inevitable. Unless he takes action and he turns this around. And the only real energy that will help him avoid this disastrous, let's say this heartbreak, the Three of Swords, is the actual Major Arcana card, the Lover's card. So right away, if you're doing a reading for someone, the Knight of Swords comes about and you identify their state of consciousness with the Lover's card, they need to meditate with that card. They need to work with that card in order to gain the true benefit of the Three of Swords and overcoming a heartbreak instead of suffering the causes and the grievance from that. Same thing if you would have identified with a different let's say we would have gone with Temperance, refusing to take the time to take it slow and to heal, and just going straight out into the world. You're going to be, he'll suffer the Nine of Swords, misery, disbelief, and just, think of it, the nightmares, sleepless night, panic attacks, all that, negative energy. So then he needs, the only energy he should be focused on working is really the Temperance energy and meditating upon it and contemplating with the Temperance card.
Okay, so is it that the Sephiroth that is connected with Temperance is also connected with the Nine of Swords?
Yeah, I'll draw it here on the map. So we have here the Six and the Knights. So this is the Knight that came about. So the Knight came about in a reading, Knights of Swords. So I bring in the Six of Swords to understand, wow, there's a major clash. He has a lot of frustration. He's going against what he's, supposed to be taking it slow, an ease transition, and he's going straight out into the world. Now,
and we did that because of the High Priestess. Sorry, I'm just getting.
No. The High Priestess was a different.
Is the
slide.
pathway? Oh, okay.
No.
Right.
This is something new now. This is now working with the court card.
Got you.
So now we started with the Knight of Swords, and now we identified the state of consciousness of the querent, of the Knight of Sword, and let's say it was the Lovers. So here's the Lovers. Where does the Lovers bring us? It brings us to the third Sephira. The third Sephira is tied with the threes, number threes, the Threes of Swords.
Okay.
If it was Temperance, which is here, we would have gone straight down, connected with the Nine of Swords.
Right, I got you. Yeah. Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
So this is now how we would work with the court cards. And the last thing I'd like to, let me go here. See the slide. Okay. Now let me go bring it back. So in a reading, working with a major arcana or court card, understanding their relationships with a minor arcana and contemplating with these paths will definitely give us more guidance and understanding on what is really going on. Now I want to talk about something else, the last part of my presentation. So as mentioned before, the way we lay down the path, our let's say spread, is from the highest Sephira to the lowest. So we start with the king and we work our way down till the knights. Okay? So let me turn off the whiteboard. So once we've established that, now we can work with the 22 paths, the 22 major arcana cards in different ways. So apart from what I explained, there's three interesting ways we can use this concept. So if I'm doing a spread on, let's say, the Emperor, on the second world cups, it'll allow me to gain a deeper understanding of that major arcana card. Okay, like I explained in the world, the process of creation through divine love,
which so was amazing. Can I just say that, because a lot of people say they think of the Emperor as quite physical in this physical world, and this has shown us that actually
he's not.
Yeah, which is incredible.
He prepares it for the physical world, but then it's as if he has his army, let's say, that does all the work for him.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so that's one way of working that I truly love. I mean, I do readings with tarot, but what I found what really connects with me is meditating and contemplating with tarot, getting these stories in line. That's what fascinates me when I work with tarot. So I would meditate on this spread or contemplate on this spread, and that would bring me just so much knowledge. Or again, if you're going to tap into that specific energy. The next, now I want to get a little more complex. Reaching higher states. If you'd like to reach a higher state of consciousness or lower states of consciousness, we can do that by climbing the Kabbalah or descending the Kabbalah.
Can I ask a question? I can jump the queue here. This is my thought.
Yes.
Why would we want to achieve a lower state of consciousness?
Okay. So I'll come back to you. All right.
No problem.
Okay. So we can only climb or descend the tree using diagonal paths.
Yeah.
So if I remain on the second, let me put the whiteboard back. If I'm here, I'm meditating with the second Sephra, and I like to experience the third, I cannot cross into. I must drop my state of consciousness so I can rise. You can climb and you could descend always using a diagonal path. So then I would work with the Emperor, and then I would climb back up with the Lovers. This is the Lovers path. If I go back on the slide.
Okay, so you'd go down the right, which is the Emperor, and then you'd come back up the
with
left.
The 6.
With the 6, which is the Lovers. Yeah. Okay, so you can't go from Bina to Chokma across the Empress. Okay.
You can. If you want to meditate on the Empress, then you'll get a balanced energy of both those Sephiroth. Now, two important aspects to consider. If we look at the Fool, the diagonal path at the top right, is the only path we can use to climb up to Kether. You want to connect with your higher self. The only way up to Kether is with the Fool. Once you're up to Kether, the only way down the tree, to descend the tree from Kether, is through the Magician.
Interesting.
What you need to be cautious of is coming down from Kether. We receive a lot of divine energy. As a magician, you cannot hold down to this energy. It will burn you out. You need to release it. You have to release this creative energy. Hence the magician manifesting, release that energy. With the Empress, if you look at magician is connected with the threes, the queens, and also the Empress. So the magician, when you're coming down from Kether, you have that divine energy, let's say from the aces, the Ace of Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles. You need to come down, and once you've reached the third, you need to release that energy. Okay? So you can, and also for playfulness, you want to experiment climbing the tree and then descending the tree. If you want to manifest, for example, you've gained divine energy from Kether, you want to manifest it to the physical realm. You need to come all the way down to Malkuth to really gain all that understanding in that path. To be able, so you gain that divine spark, that fire spark from Kether. You then create it in the second world. You form it in the third, and then in the fourth world is when it starts to manifest in the physical realm.
Which is why you would want to achieve the lower states of consciousness.
Exactly, which is on our physical realm. So these are just, there's so many different ways of working with the Kabbalah. It's a way of introducing it, how tarot can help us, in simple ways. So you can climb or you can descend the tree. Another way that is, again, it's just the final step, which is very more advanced, but just I like mentioning it because it's very related with the book that I'm writing about, and it's the swing of the pendulum. All right, and it's a way of reaching enlightenment. What we would do is, how can I explain? Okay, let's look at the Emperor and the Lovers. So I'll draw the Emperor going down to the 6th, going back up to the Lovers.
Yeah.
All right. Or we have Death and we have the Devil. All right. Yeah. If we look at the Emperor and the Lovers here, we have to visualize like as if this is a pendulum. And the pendulum constantly swings from left to right in a balanced energy. This will give us divine wisdom, which is the second sephira, divine understanding, which is the third sephira. The way we would do this Mendelem meditation would be, we will lay down the two rows. So we laid out 2 rows horizontally of the 2 opposing diagonal paths. So I would lay down the path of the Emperor, and then underneath it, I would lay down the path of the Lovers. And then we would contemplate from left to right on the above row, and from right to left on the row below. And then we would repeat. And then you keep repeating. And that creates the pendulum swing. And the important aspect in this meditation practice is the equal amount of time you're spending on the right, the Emperor, you have to spend the equal amount on the left. And then you keep equally repeating as a pendulum swing. And you can do that as well with Death and the Devil, getting a swing here. So any of these diagonal paths here, this is, it's a much more advanced, but if you're curiosity, if you're curious, you want to try attempting these types of meditation. Again, meditation is, in my spiritual practice, is my main dominant practice. Tarot, it's only since 2014. So if you're interested in progressing in meditation, for sure, this is, it's an interesting way of combining your tarot into your meditation practice.
Gosh, wow. Amazing amount of knowledge.
It is.
It's just been on the tarot path for a few years, and I can't wait to see how this develops for you in time with your book. And I have a feeling that you'll have some Kabbalah meditations out, but I'm not predicting.
Yes. Well, I was thinking of this presentation that I did of laying out a page for each and every major arcana card and each and every court cards, and putting in some content in there, and then doing a Kickstarter project to release this, because I'm sure people can help with just this understanding. I know we're doing a quick webinar, so I might do that, and then this will act as let's say a backup book for my main book, because it's really based, it's like a second level of this, bringing that on a human aspect level, or day-to-day lives after, which is really out there further. So I've been working on for 2 years now. No idea what's the expected release date, but I'm very, very looking forward to releasing that. Yeah,
I mean, for me, Kabbalah, as you say, is incredibly complex, so it obviously encompasses everything, being the tree of life, doesn't it? And so it's just like looking at a whole universe, and if people's minds are blown here, really, that's just one of the effects, I think, of looking at the tree of life. So in terms of that, David has put together the slides as an ebook for you, so you can look them over, and also the replay will be up, for the week, so you can really take it in. I think it might take a few times to take in. Dion Fortune. Have you heard of Dion Fortune, David?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so she was a famous occultist of the 20th century, I believe, and she said that tarot, astrology, and Kabbalah couldn't actually be totally understood, without the other arms, shall we say. My personal pull is to tarot and astrology, because when I go into Kabbalah, it's like, wow, there are just so many different layers. And what you've shown with us today about the Emperor, for instance, I'm sure that's really helped a lot of people's understanding about the Emperor, and how actually he's made up of the divine channel, so to speak. He's not all about control and domination on the earthly world. And so it's amazing to see all these different parts of what a card is made up of. I don't even like to say the word card. And how the Kabbalah really helps us understand that and take that even deeper and even further. So absolutely mind-blowing. Thank you, David, for your sharing that knowledge and wisdom. Okay, are you ready for questions?
I think I'm a little tired. We should call it a day. And,
I'm with you.
I hope I can answer. Let's try some questions. Hopefully I can answer them all.
Yes. Okay. So, we've got some Rohinis here from India just going through. We've got people from Ottawa, Martine,
Amazing.
and the USA, and some people saying they've done a lot of work with Kabbalah. Linda is one of them. Other people saying they haven't, like Joe. People saying they've read some books, like Martin. And some say very basic knowledge. Is there a video and audio yet? Says Elise.
A video and audio about?
I guess she's talking about the Kabbalah.
There are, well, I mean, if you Google, for sure, if you want to look at video tutorials, and for sure you'll find so much online, so much content online. I haven't done audio or video meditation on the Kabbalah yet. As Tiffany suggested, I think she's pushing me to create one. So that might be coming up. We'll see. For sure, my next project is the presentation that I've shown you today. You'll each be receiving that by email. But my next project, I'd like to expand that into much more detail and release that as a book. And it'll definitely be sort of the first part of my main book that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, amazing. And, I've had a little sneak preview of David's Honey Lion meditation album. And I have to say that he's got a great voice for meditation. So, I think any meditations that you do will be really powerful, really successful and powerful. So, okay, I am just looking, there's lots of people saying, just saying lovely things in terms of,
thank you,
interacting about how much they've done or how little they've done. Raw is saying, I think I am your same age. Oh, I have never asked you your age. So, I don't know.
Asking me my age?
She says, I think I am your same age. Also came to tarot through a synchronicity in 2015 or so, but got first deck in 2016. Interesting how she might have deduced your age. It's a mystery to me.
I'll only mention my age. I'll only mention it just once because we're in the topic of the number 4. There's so much 4s happening today, and I've just turned 40. So there's the 4. So I turned 40 in February. Thank you.
I was going to say, you're a little fishy. You can't have
I'm a Pisces.
You're over 40 and a half now, David. Okay, all right. So Sylvie is saying, how did you two connect? I think we answered that at the beginning of the webinar.
Yes, you stalked me. You stalked me for several weeks, following me around. Restraining orders and all that. And then here you are.
Yeah, I did. I internet stalked him and said, you need me at your conference, and then you need to buy my game changer, and then you need to do this tarot summit with me. That was it.
Just a little. I just want to mention, I use your tarot game changer game. I do not use it for its purpose. I love working. I love working with tarot with my kids. I've got 2 young boys. We use your game changer platform as a storytelling platform. When I used it with my kids, it's wonderful. Anyways, maybe we'll get into it in a different webinar session using tarot for kids, but it's wonderful.
I'm so pleased to hear that. I love that it just goes out there in the world and gets used in the way that it's meant to for people. So that's really lovely to hear. And I can see how a game would do that for kids, which is great. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. So Joyce is saying, how did you get into Kabbalah?
After studying the Bible, I started reading a lot about the Kabbalion, the Sefer Yetzirah, a very powerful book on spirituality, which all are based on the Kabbalah. So I started studying the Kabbalah, and then when I had my last year, when my guides told me that scrap my whole concept book, and they showed me the map of the Kabbalah, then it's been nonstop, 100%, really going in deep with the Kabbalah. But I've been studying it since my 30s, on and off since the 30s.
Okay, so you've had a good decade of Okay, all right. And then the tarot came in, how many? Couple of years ago.
5 years. 5 years.
Ago. So kind of halfway. Okay, gotcha. All right. I'm still impressed though. Okay, all right. So yeah, Susan has just decided for sure that I'm going to be at your conference.
Nice. Looking forward to meeting you.
Amazing, Susan. I'd love to know where you're going to be traveling from as well, if you want to put that in the chat box. That would be awesome. Thank you, Susan. Jacqueline saying, wow, strong story. Thank you. Yeah, I think it blew people's minds. I mean, I could really resonate with you on as a child closing my eyes and it freaking me out. I used to see the universe like go on forever, and it would be like, I used to think, what about after forever?
Exactly. That's what freaked me out. Is forever and ever and ever, and where's the world? Where's all the people I know? And it's just that repeating. Someone was just kept saying forever and ever, but I was like, but what? What then? It was just terrifying.
Yeah. And
it's funny. The first time I ever told that story was last July, and I remember I said it to a group. I did my first presentation at a conference, and 2 minutes into the story, I just broke down in tears. It was just so much suppressed. I've been suppressing this for 39 years, and until then I was never able to speak about it. But since last year, I've opened up. Tarot has actually helped me so much, gain all this understanding and release all this blockage and fears that have been suppressed inside. So now I'm able to speak about it and help others. So many people also they've experienced the dark night of the soul. They're going through it now, but they've never known what it is, or they've never known the purpose of it. So for sure, just do not give up, because for sure there's a definite enlightening gift that you will receive once you've passed this stage. And we will all go through it, a different stage of our life, and it will last for a different amount of time, depending on how much cleansing we need.
It's been really helpful to hear you speak about it. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that can, get little pennies dropping, little pentacles dropping, or big ones, like, oh yeah, that's what that is, or okay, now I get it. And so it's really important, showing up and sharing the messages as you are driven to do, being an emperor. So that's fantastic. Excellent. Okay. So Audrey's also saying she admires your story and ability to really listen, even when it took some time. I can identify with that, David. Yeah. Amazing. So that was lovely. Jacqueline says, I wished I lived near you. I would really want to be in Montreal. Maybe next time. Well, you never know. I have a little thing called an IBA on my blog. Look it up, and it's about manifesting. It can be amazing what happens. So Susan says, is the 40% discount offer for the event after the tarot conference, or is that included in that offer as well? Do you understand that question? I'm a little confused.
Well, the offer that I will be sharing at the end is a 40% discount at the Tarot Reading Festival in September in Montreal. And that's going to be valid just for this week. So after this week, the offer will no longer be valid.
So we've been, every week it's been 20%, hasn't it? But this is the only week, guys, that David...
40%. Again, another 4.
Yeah, but even though it's another 4, this is the only week. Even though he'll be a 4 for the rest of his life, this is the only week that it's 40%. Yes. I hope that answers your question, Susan. Amanda's got a great question here. When you speak of higher levels of consciousness, I'm wondering if you can illustrate what that might look like. I hear the word thrown around, but I'm trying to wrap my head around what it really means. Do you have any anecdotes of what you were like at a lower level of consciousness and how things change with a higher level of consciousness? Okay, so I think we went into this a little bit, but...
I think... Let me see if I can explain it. Lower levels of consciousness, you're very tied into the materialistic world, the needy-greedies, money, physical pleasure. It's, me, the ego. So the lower you go, you're heading towards that world. I can't even explain some of my meditation sessions when I would reach these high states of consciousness. You feel literally you shed your body and you're just thrown off. You're not even in earth anymore. And you're connected with all. It's such a powerful sense of love and light and knowledge and power and everything at your grasp that you're not even concerned anymore with anything in the physical realm, anything, any arguments we might have here, any, little problems that we might make such a big deal out of it. This all out of the way. It's just, you're so enlightened of the true purpose of the soul. It's such a different level. You see life in a completely different perspective. It's really hard to describe if you haven't ever reached those states, even for a fraction of a second.
And what's helped you do it is meditation through the Kabbalah in particular, or meditation?
There's, again, I've done meditation with crystals, with the chakras, with the Kabbalah, with tarot, with the Hebrew. Of course, the Hebrew letters are extremely powerful as well. Again, they're extremely tied with Kabbalah.
Right, yeah.
Exact. So those are extremely powerful. For me, like I said, is when they feel I'm ready, no matter what tool I'm using, as long as I'm using a tool, they just pick me up. And so it happened in all of them. It's not one specific, but that's just how it works for me, how it's always worked. It's always at random, and you have to enjoy the practice. So don't practice because I have an objective. I want to feel that you'll never attain it. Yeah. You have to do it because it's a way of life. It's a way of being. You know that there's so much more in this life than money and physical pleasures and indulgence. And once in that state of consciousness, it's a daily practice. And before you know it, you're just one day, you can't even, it's as if like, what's happening? It's like you don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden it's like you're there, and it's like,
for sure. Yeah.
I can explain it like you're about to jump into a pool and the water's cold, but once you're in, you're gonna play and your friends are there. So it's a hesitation, and then once you jump in and you're in the ocean, you're loving. So
yeah, definitely a Pisces way of describing that. I'm like sat here as a Leo thinking, what? That
water?
Yeah, give me the fire.
We need the ocean. Ocean, very important.
But I get you, like, I think, and what you're saying about finding your way of connecting with your element, in terms of, I think for me, when I really first started to experience, like you said, not being weighed down by money, bills, politics, even, all of those things was through the book Opening to Channel. Have you heard of that book?
No.
It's a classic. It's a spiritual classic by Sonia Roman and someone else, Dwayne Packer, I think. I think it was written in the 70s, but it's all about how to open to channel. So you are literally connecting with your guides, and
amazing.
That feeling that you're describing, it's almost as if you come out of your body and you are everything and you are light, and you're looking down at the earthly realms, and you're seeing it as an illusion.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a complete illusion, and it doesn't affect you anymore. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. So Audrey's saying you're not crazy. You're inspired.
Thank God. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sylvie's asking the origins of the Kabbalah. Martin has answered about it being the Jewish tradition.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to add to that, or is that?
No, I studied a lot of the Jewish tradition as well. The Sefer Yetzirah is very powerful. So it is dominantly from the Jewish tradition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I think it's quite interesting that I'm on the High Priestess today, because you spoke about the pillars, and obviously the pillars of the High Priestess are also the pillars of the Kabbalah, and the pomegranate is the shape of the Kabbalah when you cut it. It's the tree of life. And so it's amazing how it all fits in. So Elise is saying, why don't the twos come first? They appear first on the map before the kings. Can you get the map up again? Is that okay?
Yes. File sharing.
I love that
No.
Elise knows that I'm a chariot and not a high priestess. I'm impressed.
Oh, the presentation is here. Let's start it. Okay, so, all right. So why the twos don't come up before the kings?
Why don't the twos come first? They appear first on the map before the king.
It's just the way I illustrated it on the map. But when I do my reading, I always start with the court card and end with the court card. It gives the personality the end at the beginning to give the flow. And again, some paths do not have any court cards, so they'll just have the 1 to 10 and the major arcana card in the middle. But when there is a court card that comes up, I like it having the energies beginning and ending.
Okay,
as a dominant energies.
Fantastic, thank you. Susan says, does the numerology birth number correlate to a specific card in the tarot? Yes.
Of course, definitely.
Master number 11 here, so would that reduce to 2 in the tarot deck? Yeah. So that would be the High Priestess and Justice, right?
I will have so many conflicting points in my book I don't want to talk about. Even now, some posting that I'm doing about the Hebrew Letters Association with the Kabbalah, I do not follow all the traditional. I bring in a lot of new knowledge. So even now I'm getting not resistance, but criticized. So all this talk about the numerology, the birth card, the year card, I will bring a new level of understanding through it that might conflict with others, but there's a reason for it. And hopefully it'll be clearly explained through my book.
Well, we all need people like you, David. It's part of moving on. We need to constantly evolve, don't we?
Exactly.
Challenge the status quo. And so, as a chariot, I'm kind of all for that.
Perfect.
So Audrey says, maybe you already said, David, how would one know which path to take? As in which one to start with? I'm a little lost. Okay, so that might be useful for everyone, actually. How can you tell?
There are no rules. There are no beginnings. There are no ending. It's a forever cycle. What do you wish to embody? What do you wish to manifest? What do you want? What experience? What knowledge, understanding do you wish to gain? It's a choice. You make a choice, you select your path. And then that is what you go about. Then once you're on this path and you're experiencing it, now you can play with it. Okay, let's start moving and see how that feels. And you climb the tree and then you go down and then you climb the other way. It's an experience. It's a practice. It's something you have to sit quietly and work with it. It's I can't say in a better way than experience it.
Yeah, so it's like whatever you're intuitively drawn to, just start with that.
Exactly. And there's no beginning or ending. The point is not to reach the top. The point is not to reach the bottom. The point is just navigate, experience. And every time you cross a path, it'll be something different and you'll learn something new.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So Kathy's just asking, can you confirm that we'll get the visuals and downloads? Yes, if you stay until the very end, which won't be long, guys.
Yeah.
So you're doing very well. Alice is saying, what's the story with the tower on the map of the major arcana? The tower seems like it's out of place. Third wheel like.
Wait, let me see. Hold on. Slide presentation. Let's go grab start. Wait. Okay. So we said the tower right here. So the tower is, I didn't want it being behind temperance. So I just moved it to the side so we would see it.
Okay.
But so just to run it through so everyone has it, we have 0, 22. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which is the tower, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21, the world.
Okay, great. Thanks for that
So
clarification.
now it's recorded. Everyone has the association for that.
You can take it back on the replay. Brilliant. Okay. So I think we've spoken a bit about the directions already, but Rosie is saying when you say down, it looks like it's traveling up. So I'm confused. I think we need to number the paths. So the paths are numbered on there, and you can see it on the replay and the download, Rosie, or learn the route. I'm guessing there's no shortcuts, only one direction. So I think you've just spoken a bit about that.
Yeah, because a path you can go up or down, except for the Fool only goes up, the Magician only goes down. All the other diagonals can go up or down. Great,
brilliant. Thank you for the clarification. Rosie's saying it's starting to make sense now. It's a bit like chess. Okay. Okay. Elise is saying, seems like the layers of the map are also correspondent to 7 chakras. Yes. Is this part of it? Absolutely. Yeah.
And also the human body is right on there as well.
Like, isn't it Bina and Chokma are the shoulders?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can see the human body, as well. When you
There's
see that
so much
man that has his legs open and his arms out like that, is it a bit like that? You can put that on the map.
You could put that on the map.
You can put anything on the map.
Anything. There's so much content on the internet you can find if you'd like to start getting more into it.
Okay, so we got some more questions like why is, Shira says, why is 2 below the 3? Is 2 below the 3?
There's the 2 comes before the 3. So the 2, let me share it again. Let's put it back. So the 2, we start with the 1, and then the 2 is here. It always comes before the 3rd.
Okay, I think maybe she's talking about the High Priestess being below the Empress, maybe.
Oh, this. Yes.
Yeah.
So this, the best way to explain, for you to have the best understanding of this cross, is do the path, inverting the numbers. So if you do the path of the 2 this way, then try and see how the 2 would look. It wouldn't match. The High Priestess is the Knight of Swords reaching out to the Ace of Swords to gain that wisdom. If you place her from the 3 and the 2, she doesn't really fit in between those.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And this is part of the standard numbering of the path, and tarot just corresponds perfectly with it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And that leads us into the next question, which is, how was the order of the major arcana determined on the path? Now, that's a great question. I'm not sure I know it. I don't think I know it. Do you know
the
it?
path are identified, they're already identified on the Kabbalah itself from 1 to 22. Yeah. And so you link them just with the tarot major arcana cards. And just like I explained now, if you want to see why the Emperor is not on path 22, do your spread if the Emperor was on path 22 with the minor arcana and the court cards, and see if that makes sense. You'll notice the energy just doesn't fit in. That is not who the Emperor is. Okay, so it's to do with the energetic blueprint of the universe again. And the universe, and also the Hebrew letters, of course. Okay, got you. There's some great decks that have the Hebrew letters on. So if people want to learn more that way, because I get decks with astrology symbols on. Of course, exactly. Yeah, so like Tarot of Dreams by Chiro Marchetti is a great one with the Hebrew on. Do you know any? Thoth. Okay. Thoth has the Hebrew. Then there's can't recall. Okay. Well, there's 2. You don't need 200 decks, not like David. Okay. So, now Rebecca says, "Did you channel these associations?" Oh, okay. So no, we've answered that as well. Yeah. A few people asking about your book. When's it coming out? How do you explain the I wish.
in your book? Blah blah blah.
If I would do this full time, for sure it'll be out soon. I'm hoping 2020 is my year. 2020, 2 + 2 is 4. There's another 4. That's cool. My objective is 2020 to finish my book.
Okay, great. And Colleen is saying that Dion Fortune's book is the mystical Kabbalah, and there seems to be some similarities with David's words. So that's great.
Okay.
Emma's saying mind blown, fascinating. Thank you. Jacqueline's saying she hopes she doesn't get kicked out like last time because she would really want your ebook. Laughing with her, and people are laughing. There's lots of laughter going on. And Rosie says, I've got it. I've got quite. I think she's saying she's got it. You've got to go up to Kether for the fire spark and then bring it down to manifest and go through the tarot teachings along the way. Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So you have the spark, divine spark, the with divine light, creation with divine love, formation with divine wisdom, and then the self-expression manifestation. Okay,
great, brilliant. I'm aware that we're, kind of like getting to time. So I'm just going to run through quickly. I'm going to go through and speed date your questions because there's a lot of them. But okay, ready? We're going to speed it up. So if I want to do my tree of life, I have to calculate my personal year. I don't think you have to, do you?
No, not at all.
No. So
if you want to gain more understanding of yourself, the best way of starting is on the path that corresponds with your soul card, let's say. So that's the best way of how to start. It'll introduce you to it, but then you're free to go wherever you please.
Wonderful, thank you. Susan's got a question about the conference. Is it essential to be in Montreal conference on the Friday evening as well, or is arriving on the Saturday morning okay?
Saturday morning is okay. The presentations are mainly Saturday and Sunday. The Friday we have a meet and greet. I'll be doing sort of an interview with Katrina Wine. She'll be interviewing me. But if you're there for Saturday and Sunday, those are the jam-packed days. You don't want to miss those 2 days. Okay.
You've got it's jam-packed value, particularly this ticket that we're about to actually give you, because 3 days for 150, just for this week only, it's 150 Canadian, which I think works out about 75 quid UK. It almost pays for our flight over here. Not quite, but I'm stretching it a little bit. But I mean, 75 quid for a Friday night, Saturday day, Sunday day, and it's like all day kind of 8 a.m. till when?
Saturday it's till 6 p.m. But then we have a special presentation with Katrina Wine at night from 6 to 9. So if you're gonna buy, and then the Sunday is till about 4 or 5. Okay, got you. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Susan's saying she's a friend of Moira's, doing some work with her. Moira was our first guest, amazing. She really kicked it off at a high level, and she's in Ottawa, so not far. Susan's saying, should she study numerology at the same time as tarot, or do they correlate? There's definitely a correlation. It helps. I would take it one thing at a time. Focus on one tool, get comfortable with it, and then you could expand further out with numerology, Kabbalah, or any other type of tool. Indeed, I agree. One step at a time. Jacqueline is saying, what is the game changer, Tiffany? That'll have to be for my session. I'm going to keep you waiting. And Susan's got a good question. How will we know when we're experiencing it? Well, I guess maybe we spoke about that in the higher levels, but the lower levels, or is there something you want to add to that? You'll sense, if there's no way you cannot know when you're raising your consciousness. It's like such a different shift. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses. It's exactly that. You see the world completely different. And then lowering it, it's like removing your glasses and seeing blurry and just seeing the things that are not very valuable to our being, to our soul. So it's very evident. Fantastic. Thank you. Some big questions here, and we're going to try and answer them really quickly. Okay. So is the tree of life like your own big water flow system? And if it gets blocked, you have to clean the drain in a certain way, like the hero's journey, but more confusing. Okay. I wouldn't see that it would get blocked. You don't block the Kabbalah. The blockage happen within. If you have a blockage within you,
Yes.
Yeah. The Kabbalah can definitely help you. It's the master universal tool of wisdom. So it will definitely help you understand and find a way to unblock your inner self. Working with the Kabbalah is just like working with the Tarot. I'm just mixing them together in this exercise. So for sure, if you've mastered the Kabbalah, there's nothing you cannot not do with it. It's a powerful magical system.
And good lead into the next question, which is Jacqueline saying this is really magic. And Jesus, wasn't he Jewish? Question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
Right. Okay. There we go. I think we've gone through all the questions, and we're ready to load the offers now. So remember that this is the only week that you can get this ticket. That is going to come up very soon. And it's the only week you can get it at 40% off. Okay, it's here now, and this is the ticket for David's Light and Love Tarot Reading Festival that we've been talking about. That it's what you say it's your offer.
Did you share it? I don't see it popping up though.
No, I've shared it. Yeah, I've got it here.
Okay, it's not appearing on mine. So that's it. So this offer, sorry?
If people can't see it, when I put the chat back on, I'll know, because people will say it's not there, and I'll do it again. But it looks like I've published it here. Okay, so you go.
Perfect. So it's only for this week. It's a special link, so it's not a coupon code like someone was asking. It's a direct link where you purchase a direct ticket only for the 3-day event pass. It doesn't include the lunch buffets or the Saturday night session with Katrina Wine. Looking forward to seeing you.
Include.
Sorry? It includes the 3 days. It's a pass for the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right. Okay. Yeah. With Rachel Pollock and Mary Kay Greer.
That's right. Mary Kay is on the Saturday, Rachel Pollock's on the Sunday.
Incredible. Yeah. Okay. So as we're going to take this down in a few seconds. So what I would recommend you do is click that link that says get my ticket. It's not going to charge you. It's going to take you through to David's page, and at least you've got it open then, because once I take this down, I'll
share the link.
Yeah, there's only 40% right now, and after that it goes back up to 20%. So this is your week, guys, if you want to really get it. Okay, so it's going down in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and David's being kind to you. It's the Pisces. He's I'm like, no, click on it now. At least have it open because it's going. That's the Leo. Bossy Leo. Anyway, we're moving offer now. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to check the chat and see if everybody saw it. Well, if you didn't, the link is in there anyway. David's put the link in there.
That's right.
People are saying, how do we register for Katrina? And
I don't have
out, maybe?
No, it's not sold. I think there's just a couple of spots left. I don't have right now a button to purchase a separate session for Katrina alone. If you're interested, send me an email. And if you purchase this offer, I'll create a button just to buy the session with Katrina on a separate button.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brilliant. Someone's asking the authors again for opening to channel. So I'm just going to say again that it's Sonia Roman and Dwayne Packer, I believe, if I've got that right. Okay. It seems I need to put it up again for someone because I've just done this. So instead of saying it's a mistake, I don't believe there's a mistake. It's the universe saying I need to put it back up again. So 1, 2, 3 peeps, you've got a second chance here to get the 40% off the ticket. Okay, 1, 2, you've got to click because I'm just giving you the second chance by counting 3 again. By that time, it's gone. 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, right now, other offer is if you want to come here, my boudoir. I don't really mean that. but I couldn't resist it. My transformative tarot retreat, where you also get a tarot diploma. It's an accredited tarot diploma, at least in the UK. I'm not sure about Canada and America. I would need to check that for you. But it's also a weekend where we go really deep into you and work out what it is that you want to transform in you and your life. And that's going to be held also with sacred fires at the beginning and at the end, and dispatchos as well, which is about dispatching your energy to the universe, and with gratitude and seeing how it comes back. And it's looking like it's going to be a time of deep cleansing. David is joining us on the Saturday morning as well for a gong bath meditation that you're leading for us, right? Which is
That's right, on the Saturday morning.
So there's lots of cleansing and going deep with this weekend, as well as learning the tarot. And it says there's 8 available units, but actually there's only 1 available unit there's one last solo room. And if you get that last solo room, then you actually get the ticket to the conference free as well. Okay.
The retreat is not in Britain. Susan is asking if it's in Britain.
Okay.
It's near Montreal, in the Laurentians. So there you go.
Yes, absolutely. So it's another reason to come to Montreal. And yes, we're really going, come to us. So much to give you. There's a whole new world waiting for you. So you have 3 seconds before this goes. 1, 2, click to learn more before it gets taken down, and then you can decide. 3. Okay, remove offer. That's it, guys. So thank you so much for staying here till the end. All of you that have stayed till the end will be getting the ebook, and we'll be getting the meditation. Do you want to say something about the amazing honey lion and story behind
that? That's right. When I was studying the Bible, one of the stories that really grasped my attention was the story of Samson. Mm-hmm. So at that time, being a musician, I wrote an album, an acoustic, instrumental, just on the guitar album. And, 12 songs, each illustrating a chapter of Samson's life. But what I did for this bonus offer is I put them all combined, forming a 30-minute meditation session, allowing us to go deep within, to grasp our courage. Just reaching out to Samson's, energy, divine power, to overcome any obstacles, any fear. Just sit back and follow the melodies, allow yourself to drift into the consciousness, to your inner self, and to the ocean of time and place.
I did it earlier, and listening to your voice was just like, it instantly put me into that meditative space. And then it just felt like, for me, this is a time where I actually never do this. I never actually, it felt like I was just laying there having a healing, but not needing to do anything. And then at the end, you kind of confirmed
bring you back.
What you said at the end. Yeah.
And so we are so caught up with technology, with social media, with interaction, distraction. Yes, we need this time to break away from everything. And the position I guide you through when you're meditating is actually holding your favorite crystal between your palms, forming a circle around your head, and you lie on your back. So this sort of reinforces, breaking away from all the distractions, and you'll feel the energy and the power connecting with your inner self.
Brilliant. We're all going to be there with crystals. I will get the replay out to you guys. Thank you so much for
Thank you very much.
Yep, David and everyone that's here to the end, you'll receive the honey lion, Samson story, and you'll be lying there with the crystals and getting all the healing, which is going to be awesome. And of course, you'll also have the ebook of that.
Yes.
David is not just a musician, you're a fine artist as well, aren't you? And you can really tell on the presentation. Yeah. So I think even just meditating also, lying there with the ebook slide, transported to a higher consciousness, guys. So I know I've got to get on. I've got to get back to work and work out who's being here and get it to you. And if you don't get it, email
Reach out.
contact@tiffanycrosara.com. Unfortunately, we did start this in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. So, you know, poor old Mike.
Couple hiccups.
For everything. So, yeah, please know that just all you have to do is reach out and we'll get it to you if there's some ongoing hiccups. Thanks again, David.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Tiff.
Saying thank you. And you're going to be hosting next week, or is it me? No, you're in Vegas.
You're hosting. I'll be on the chat.
So even though you're in Vegas, you're going to be on the chat. And,
that's right.
Thank you, Juliet, as well. For
thank you. Thank you, Juliet.
And okay. So you're moderating, and I am here with Jean
Fiorini.
Thank you. I will get all your names right one day. So I will see you then with Jean, which is going to be about relationships.
Oh.
Also my speciality, and I think a bit of yours as well. I guess any type of work like this is, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really beneficial session, as they've all been, but this one is going to be like, I love just understanding relationships. Isn't that like what it's all about, really, isn't it? You know, like with
Definitely.
your Kabbalah, it's all about the relationships.
That's exactly what my book is about.
That's why I'm really about relationships. I'm like, David, help me out.
I just don't want to talk too much. You can't. Don't let me spill the beans. It has to be.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up. On the whole Priestess card. All right, gotta go.
All right.
Bye.
Perfect. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you.